We back again, baby. And again, I apologize for the gaps in uploads. I'm trying to be uploading constantly. Uh, you know, go hard on this channel. Like I've been saying, I want to stop the talk and make action. You feel me? Uni got me stressing though. Uni got me fucked up. But anyways, who gives a shit? We're back again, and a different type of video here. We're not reacting to music. We're reacting to a little explanation thing from Kid Nerd, who I see my man got bare videos out explaining UK, UK like gang relations and shit like that, UK beefs, all that shit between rappers. Kind of like certain people in the US, but you could say maybe like Blackie Speaks, if you know Blackie Speaks, or DJ Academics, but they a lot of times focus more on music rather than gang side of things. There are some people though that make videos, about the shit going on in Atlanta with like YSL and like explaining that type of shit. But yeah, anyways, I'm just trying to offer, the US equivalent, you feel me? But yeah, this is just explaining what's going on in Camden. Obviously, I learned a decent amount from my man, like Pluto. Shout out to Pluto again. I shout him out every video, but he's going crazy. He's helping us out. And other people in the comments just explaining different bars, and then also through that explaining what's going on in Camden. And basically, so I have a decent idea what's going on right now. Obviously not everything, but what I understand obviously is Active Gang is essentially fighting against 3 other gangs that they collectively call themselves 51st. And one of those is Queen's Crescent, which on the Involved song right here, that's actually in my recommended right here, he like made a play on words with which was crazy, the bar he made with all the card numbers and card suits or whatever, or the kings, jack, queen, taking heads off queens, I'm a king, I'm a something like that. And then all the way to ace, because he said I'm a king or something. Like, it was crazy. So I appreciate y'all helping me catch that, because that went completely over my head, fam. Oh my days. And usually I feel like I pride myself on recognizing that stuff, but I feel like, I don't know, with it being stuff I'm unfamiliar with, shit goes over my head. And this is gonna help alleviate that, you feel me? Let's get into it. Come on, BBC.
2 men have been stabbed to death in 2 separate attacks in Kentish Town in North London last night. The body of the first victim, believed to be in his late teens, was found a couple of hours before police discovered the second victim, who's thought to be in his 20s.
Camden, the heart of fashion and culture in London, with some of the most expensive house prices and biggest tourist attractions in England. And from the outside in, looks like the perfect place to live. But that's what the government want to show you. Once we go deeper into the lower income estates of the borough, we start to see a different story. A story of the country's most deprived estates in London being separated from roads of millionaires literally by one street, and how these estates have created a deadly gang war which has taken over the borough in recent years. But before I get into the video, be sure to like and subscribe and turn on post notifications.
Shout out to you, bro. Good video. Come on. I hope so.
So Camden is a borough in northwest London and is very, very close to the centre of London. But despite the area being so close to the rich centre of the capital, in the last few years the war in the area has been going brazy. So historically, unlike neighbouring areas like Islington and Brent, Camden's beef situation hasn't been as active as others. But this all changed around 2016 when a man from Camden called Merce had his watch stolen from another man from another area in Camden. After this, there was some back and forth, which resulted in a big rivalry in the borough, literally between groups of kids that grew up together. One side being gangs built up from a few estates in Camden, which were the Peckwater gang from the Peckwater estate, the QC gang, which were from a road in Camden called Queen's Crescent, and Cumber, which is a gang made up from an estate called Regent's Park in Cumberland Market. They linked up together.
I do know about Regent's Park. That shit that's on the hill, right? That's okay, come on.
Gang from the Peckwater estate, the QC gang, which resulted in a big rivalry in the borough from another area in Camden. After this, there was some back and forth, which resulted in a big rivalry in the borough, literally between groups of kids that grew up together. One side being gangs built up from a few estates in Camden, which were the Peckwater gang from the Peckwater estate, the QC gang, which were from a road in Camden called Queen's Crescent, and Cumber, which is a gang made up from an estate called Regent's Park in Cumberland Market. They linked up together and called themselves 51st, due to their postcodes being in NW1 and NW5, which is where the 5 and the 1 come from. And from the other side of the feud, we have a gang called Active Gang, which some people may know from their songs, and they're from the Ager Grove estate in Camden. And Active Gang are affiliated with another gang called CT1 and NRB, which they all linked up and called themselves 71st. And just like that, the war was now on between 51st and 71st over this watch being stolen. So Camden is actually home to a big...
This shit was about a watch being stolen? They formed fucking 6 gangs? That's crazy. I mean, I'm sure it's deeper than that. Maybe there's already internal divisions type shit. You know, I'm not trying to like play it down and say it's necessarily stupid, although I mean, street shit is inevitably stupid and it should just, you know, I mean, like be resolved without violence. But I mean, you know, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get into a whole discussion of it, but yeah, it's crazy, fam. It's crazy.
Between 51st and 71st over this watch being stolen. So Camden is actually home to a big Somalian community, with a big portion of them residing in Ager Grove, which is the territory of the 71st gang. Such a big community that
Bro, that's why all the men were like too smoky, was saying hella Somali words that y'all were explaining in the comments. Alright, that makes sense, you feel me? I was in London too, bro, and then like not just in Camden, I feel like everywhere there's just hella Somalis, bro. Like, which is lit, bro. I fuck with Somali. I mean, I'm Muslim, hella Muslim, Somali. You know, I mean, there's a lot of connection there, you feel me? And the little language stuff, you know what I mean? Religion, all that thing, you feel me? That's lit. Shout out to Somalia, you feel me?
Of them residing in Ager Grove, which is the territory of the 71st gang.
Shout out Chunks, you feel me?
Such a big community that the majority of 71st members are actually Somalian. And if you watch one of my previous videos on Mali Strip, Somalian people are people you don't want to be messing with.
Yeah, we gotta get onto Mali Strip. So I think shout out my man Jabril, bro. Jabril said that we should get onto Chinks after this, and I think that's low-key a good transition after we go through all the sus stuff. Because obviously Chinks is like the other side of the beef right now. And he's been telling me Chinks been going crazy 2023 and 2022. So let's get into that probably after. And after that, you feel me? We gotta get onto Mali Strip with my man Rondo Montana or whatever. I don't know if it's this kid or what, but yeah, we gotta get onto him.
And if you
heard he's crazy. Heard that they're like the most feared gang in London, right? So
First gang. Such a big community that the majority of 71st members are actually Somalian. And if you watch one of my previous videos on a big portion of them residing in Ager Grove, which is the territory of the 71st gang. Such a big community that the majority of 71st members are actually Somalian. And if you watch one of my previous videos on Mali Strip, Somalian people are people you don't want to be messing with, which you'll understand more in this video. And this beef was on go from early. In 2017, 2 members of the AG gang, which represents 71st, executed a triple shooting on 3 51st members. 2 of the members ran to a nearby hospital, but while hospital staff was treating the 2 members, they also called police to the hospital to investigate the situation. Once the 2 realized the police was called, they didn't even care about their treatment anymore, and attempted to run out the hospital while still having bullet wounds lodged in them. But the police ended up detaining them and arresting them after a struggle between the both. The reason they wanted to run was because all 3 members are actually wanted for suspicion of grievous bodily harm, which all 3 were eventually arrested for. Now, of course, 51st weren't happy about this triple shooting, and they were trying to get it back in blood. So they went lurking on the Ager Grove estate and shot a rival in the face with a shotgun. The rival actually managed to survive and make his own way back to hospital. But this beef really kicked off in a situation that wasn't even linked to both of the gangs. So on February 2017, a 16-year-old girl had an Airbnb party in Kensington, West London. You know those type of parties where a girl invites 7 different types of gangs and asks people to leave their beef at home? Yeah, one of those. So at this party, there were people from all over London there. But a few uninvited guests tried to pull up to the party. One of these people being a boy from 51st called Dotty and his friend, who pulled up to the party with a gun and knife looking for trouble. But the night turned left for Dotty and his friend, and ended up with Dotty being chased down by 20 young boys. And when the boys caught up to him, they stabbed him 13 times altogether, which actually resulted in Dotty dying, which 4 16-year-old boys from Hackney and Tottenham were sentenced and convicted for. So 51st were mad about this.
Hackney and Tottenham? Isn't Hackney like northeast? I mean, obviously Tottenham is north, but I mean, he probably about to explain it, but I don't know if they related to 71st, but it's mad fun. I'm just saying, guys, bro. None of the... Actually, I ain't gonna say nothing. Just saying, don't be going to these... I mean, y'all are probably obviously smart enough not to be involved in this shit. I'm just saying, my philosophy is you just gotta stay clear of this shit. Don't be going to no parties and inviting half of fucking London into that shit. Hell...
And when the boys caught up to him, they stabbed him 13 times altogether, which actually resulted in Dotty dying, which 4 16-year-old boys from Hackney and Tottenham were sentenced and convicted for. So 51st were mad about this situation, obviously, that their member Dotty was just stabbed to death. So they were out trying to get revenge. So they went out for revenge in a stolen BMW and travelled all the way from Camden, northwest London, to Hackney in East London, and then to Tottenham in North London, because that's where the people who killed Dotty were from. But they ended up finding no one from both areas. But they weren't trying to go home without spilling some blood first. So 51st went all the way back to Camden to look for 71st members, and found an affiliate member of 71st called AK and killed him. But they weren't done.
That's so mad, bro. Like, these men are just hungry for blood. Like, that's psychotic, bro. Like, you shouldn't even be wanting revenge. Like, that's a philosophy everyone gotta adopt, even if it's not even like killing level revenge. Just like oh, hating someone and like wanting wrongdoing done on them and shit. Like, ideally, you shouldn't be even giving a shit. Like, you shouldn't even trying to get revenge. But the killing revenge and then going beyond that, just killing anyone as revenge, that's insane, fam. I know I'm just repeating obvious shit, but like, shit's mad, bro.
71st members, and found an affiliate member of 71st called AK and killed him. But they weren't done there. They were riding for a whole nother 2 hours looking for more 71st members, and found a 71st member called Mitch's little brother. Mitch's little brother attempted to run into a cab and begged the driver to drive him to safety, but the driver refused to move, and he was dragged out the cab and stabbed to death by 51st members, all within 2 hours of their first murder they committed that night. And
imagine how scared that you're in a fucking taxi cab, bro. Oh my days, fam. That's so scary, bro. And yo, I do understand. Obviously, they're going for their opposing gang members, but they ain't even like, they didn't find the people that actually killed the guy Dotty. So like, they were just like, oh fuck it, let's just, you know what I mean, like kill someone who didn't really do anything to us, but just from the opposite gang. Like, the gang fucking like lines in the sand, bro. They're just arbitrary, fam. You know what I mean?
To a cab and begged the 71st member called Mitch's little brother. Mitch's little brother attempted to run into a cab and begged the driver to drive him to safety, but the driver refused to move, and he was dragged out the cab and stabbed to death by 51st members, all within 2 hours of their first murder they committed that night. And 6 members were sentenced to life for these murders. Then on September 4th, 2017, a member from 51st called Flips, and the older brother of the second boy who died that night.
That's not Stormzy Flips, right? Hell no. I'm just making sure, bro, because I don't know. Flips is a big name to be thrown around.
First murder they committed that night, and 6 members were sentenced to life for these murders. Then on September 4th, 2017, a member from 51st called Flips, and the older brother of the second boy who died that night called Mitch, bumped into each other on Hampstead Road in Camden, and started getting into a little altercation, which ended with Flips stabbing Mitch in his arm, neck, and back, leaving the knife lodged into Mitch's bones and murdering him. An undercover policeman just happened to witness this whole situation and ran down Flips and arrested him, and now Flips is serving 17 years to life for this murder. After this, the beef in Camden went under some serious investigation by police, and members from all sides started to get taken down for conspiracies, firearms, and drug charges. And the beef started to die down a bit. But then 2019 hit, and quite a lot of the members that were locked up started to come out. And taking in consideration that 51st members, just before everyone started going to prison, had killed 3 71st members. 71st members started coming out of prison on some demon time, and were most definitely looking for revenge with no warnings. The first signs that 71st was really back was on a cold Tuesday in February. 1 AM in the morning, a 51st member called Gxng was walking past the Sainsbury's in Camden when a 4x4 crashed into him, and several 71st members jumped out on him like a pack of wolves, stabbing him repeatedly in his head and body, leaving him literally paralyzed and not being able to walk. But that wasn't enough for 71st members. They wanted someone dead for their friends. So on April 1st, 2019, a suspected member of 51st called C-Miz and his cousin were walking down Grafton Road.
We heard about C-Miz, all like y'all in the comments was talking about him heavy. That this was suspect for his body or something like that, or this was the dude from Congo or whatever. I'm not trying to do the explaining. Obviously, this is why we're here. You feel me? But I'm just butting in and just saying y'all told me about this.
A suspected member of 51st called C-Miz and his cousin were walking down Grafton Road in Gospel Oak, Camden, when 4 71st members jumped out a stolen black car and started chasing them. C-Miz and his cousin split up, but unfortunately the men who jumped out the car locked onto C-Miz, and C-Miz ended up dropping to the ground when the 71st members started to stab him repeatedly with machetes and then run from the scene. After this murder, 71st members made a song called Congo, and the reason why they called it Congo is because C-Miz was actually a refugee from Congo after him and his family fled the war from over there. And members repeatedly in their songs say that they get their weed from Congo, not Cali, pretty much just trying to say that they're smoking on C-Miz.
Oh, see, I remember that lyric too. They get their weed from Congo, not Cali. I remember that lyric in the what was the song, that Test My Temper song or something like that, and that's an early Sus song too. So like, and I think you said like, god damn, bro, this shit was happening from early. This was his first body, I guess. Sus. That's mad fun. This is crazy to talk about, just like throwing these things around, bro, and like just that's mad, bro. I gotta react to that Congo song though. Ain't gonna lie. As fucked up as it is, just cause I just need to hear it. You feel me? But it's mad, bro.
Songs say that they get their weed from Congo, not Cali. Pretty much just trying to say that they're smoking on C-Miz. And as I said before, the majority of these 71st members are Somalian. So after all this, there was news going about in Camden that 51st members were out on the lurk, and any Somalian they see, they're killing.
Heard some really strong intelligence that there is going to be revenge for Calvin's killing, and his friends have literally said they are going to go out and kill any Somali in retaliation. So I just want to make that really clear. This is from a young Somali woman in Camden who's 24 years old, and basically we strongly suspect they're going to go out tonight and kill a Somali.
Which is probably a...
SubhanAllah, bro. The world is messed up, fam. Oh my days, bro. Oh my god, I don't know, man. This is just crazy, bro.
We strongly suspect they're going to go out tonight and kill a Somali.
Which is probably a bit of a stretch. But on the other hand, 71st members kept saying that they're warring with Jallirs, which is basically the Somalian word for West African people. Because you have to remember, despite Somalians being dark-skinned and African, a lot of Somalians don't really see themselves the same as other black people. So this was kind of turned into...
Yeah, because I feel like because they basically, Somalia is East Africa, and they're, and, you know, they're beefing. I guess they're saying they just don't see themselves the same as West Africa or all that, and I feel like that makes sense, honestly, because they're not in the same area of the country, you feel me? And I mean, people tend to click up based on just nationality, not just like skin color or anything like that. Just like you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna like, my first allegiance is to my country, you feel me? Like, it doesn't necessarily, because we're the same skin color, don't mean like, you know what I mean? But it's just mad, bro. I'm just like, I don't even know what to say, bro. Because I mean, I'm North Africa. The reason I was gonna go heavy into that was, I'm just gonna say, because I'm Egyptian, I'm North African, but I don't see myself the same as Algeria or Morocco necessarily. Like, those are my brothers, but like, we not the same. Like Egypt, if I find another Egyptian, I'm like, oh, we got hella in common. Like we gonna be way closer off the rip than anyone from like also North Africa. You feel me?
Which is basically the Somalian word for West African people.
Jalil, and I feel like I heard, did I hear Jalil's or Jarirs or whatever, or someone in the comments may have said it. I don't know.
Because you have to remember, despite Somalians being dark-skinned and African, a lot of Somalians don't really see themselves the same as other black people. So this was kind of turned into a race war between Somalian and black people in Camden, which is just all wrong for so many reasons.
For
but
real.
71st weren't happy enough with...
Nah, it is wrong though to be on smoke just because they ain't from your same country type shit. Obviously, I'm not trying to say it's not. I'm just saying, like, I understand why their first allegiances is to their like own country, but yeah, bro, y'all just gotta stop this shit for real. But I mean, the thing is though, is I was gonna say earlier when I said it's bad, it's like the people who they grow up into this shit, they don't know anything else. So of course that's gonna be like their first instinct is like, oh, I was taught my whole life, oh, these are the ops, so then these are the ops. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's gonna take like a bigger force to stop this shit.
Don't really see themselves the same as other black people. So this was kind of turned into a race war between Somalian and black people in Camden, which is just all wrong for so many reasons. But 71st weren't happy enough with the killing of C-Miz. They wanted to spill more blood. So August 12, 2019, 6 members started circling the states of 51st members in a stolen Ford Fiesta and a stolen Seat. When they spotted
Not the Ford Fiesta, fam.
16-year-old culprit and other members coming out of a restaurant.
Culprit. Someone in the comments, bro, his name is Culprit, bro. Shout out to you. You were helping crazy. Just explain shit. And then my man, some guy commented. He said, "You sound like one of the guys, the dead ops from that AGB like took or whatever." I'm like, God damn, bro, I didn't even know none of this, but now I know.
Ford Fiesta and a stolen Seat. When they spotted 16-year-old culprit and other members coming out of a restaurant around 10:30 p.m. Culprit and other members ran to a nearby set of blocks near Euston Road. But 71st members found them later on that night, and 3 members jumped out and chased them down, catching up to the 16-year-old 51st member called Culprit. Culprit was running for his life, literally screaming for help, banging on neighbors' doors to let him in. so he could escape his attackers.
Is this the origin of Knockdown Ginger, right?
But when the 71st members caught up banging on neighbors' doors to let him in, so he could escape his attackers. But when the 71st members caught up to him, 2 71st members held him, while a 3rd member repeatedly pushed a 1-foot-long zombie killing knife through his chest, while it was coming out of his back. And when the 71st members were done, the killers were said to be running away after, laughing hysterically, which is what bystanders said. And culprit, he was just any normal kid from London. He was talented at football, and even had trials for Southampton Football Club, but started getting involved in a local gang and brushed aside his football, and unfortunately became a victim of the streets. Now, as he's back...
That's so sad, bro. Oh my days, bro. How easy it can be. Like, you start to focus a little more on the wrong things rather than football. And I mean, honestly, I say it's the wrong things. Maybe there's things in their mind or like circumstances they're in that kind of justified it for them. And like I said, sometimes it's like you're kind of just brought up in that environment, so you almost see no other option. I'm not trying to like criticize people for getting involved in it, because I feel like a lot of people are wrong in that. They're like, oh, he's stupid for getting involved in it. I'm like, you don't understand the full context, you feel me? Obviously it's bad, but like, you don't understand why people got involved. Maybe there's other pressures, they were brought up in that environment type shit. It's just sad, bro. Could have been on the football team, bro.
Confused normally go. 51st were now looking for revenge on their recent errors, and there were many stabbings across the mount. And early on in September, there was a case of 3 killings in 5 days in Camden. One of these being a man from a completely different area all the way in East London, but unfortunately he was walking at the wrong place at the wrong time. So he was actually walking on Queen's Crescent Estate, which is a hotspot for 51st members, and was shot and killed in a drive-by, being mistaken for a 51st member. Just an hour before, another woman was stabbed to death just a few hundred yards
that blur fam ain't work, fam.
Mistaken for a 51st member. Just an hour before, another woman was stabbed to death just a few hundred yards from the situation. And 4 days later, a 71st member called Nux was stabbed to death by a gang of 51st members.
These men all got the same name, bro. Nux, like what? Phillips? Goddamn, fam. What the hell? But why a woman, bro? What the fuck?
And 4 days later, a 71st member called Nux was stabbed to death by a gang of 51st members with machetes. Outside one of the...
Bro, that zombie knife, these dudes always be talking about zombie knives. I actually see a picture of that shit, and he said that shit was going through the back of him. Oh my, that's just so scary, bro.
Busiest areas in London, Camden Tube Station. And for the longest,
not there, bro. No way.
Days later, a 71st member called Nux was stabbed to death by a gang of 51st members with machetes. Outside one of the busiest areas in London, Camden Tube Station. And for the longest, a lot of people didn't even know all this stuff was going on, until a 71st member called Suspect started jumping on the drill scene, calling himself the Camden Grim Reaper, and releasing some of the most disrespectful tunes towards
Here we go.
cops. So much that police take down pretty much any song that the gang uploads, which really started to bring some attention to what's happening down there, and definitely got the attention of me, especially a song from Suspect called Dugout, which is probably one of the most disrespectful songs I've ever heard, and really makes you deep how tapped this whole beef is. In one of his lines, he says,
same place we used to play runouts, is the same place his chest got dug out. Same place I was telling you play out, is the same place I'm telling you come out.
Which really makes you think, damn, these guys were close friends.
See, yep, my bad, I paused, I keep pausing, but I pointed this out in the video.
Which really makes you think, damn, these guys were close friends at one time, and now they're trying to kill each other. All stemming from a little small altercation that happened a couple years back. But anyway, guys, that's it for today's video, and peace out.
You low-key gotta do a part 2 to this shit, ain't gonna lie. And so this video looks crazy as hell. The war that started, deadly war that started UK drill, 67 versus 150. Obviously, I heard about 67, you know, LD, I think the one guy's name is Monkey. No, not on some weird shit. I swear that's actually his rap name. Oh God, it is. And like Liquid. There's some guy who got some like Liquids or some weird ass name like that. But yeah, I heard about that still, the 67. But this was a good ass video. Shout out to Kid Nerd, bro. It seems like he definitely like put a lot of effort into this and really broke that shit down really well for people like me who wouldn't know otherwise what's going on. And seems hella legit too. I mean, just you can tell, like, I mean, because of the little stuff that I do know was corroborated by this. So you feel me? Definitely on a legit definitely got a legit thing going on. And shout out to you, bro. I hope you hit 100K soon, bro. About to be there. And yeah, I mean, recommend more videos for me. Actually, if I go back real quick, he had some other good ass videos too, like talking about Mali strip, like he said. But this one too, Central C versus Digga D. I didn't know these dudes have any type of beef. I know, like Pyrex Gang, I heard about them, you know, Digga D and all that. But yeah, I gotta check out more of these. Brixton versus Peckham, you know, South London, all that. And Absav, bro. I might have to just do a reaction to table, like all the tables turn, like different parts, and then maybe react to this too, because this shit is crazy. And when I first saw it, I didn't understand like obviously all the names he was referencing and all that. But anyways, this video been bare long. My bad. I gotta stop pausing. You feel me? My bad. But anyways, I'll see you on the next one. Leave suggestions in the comments, and yeah, peace out.